So this is a slight variation from the usual recordings that we produce in association with eSchool. So this one was writing for Gaelic Learners National 5. It's the National 5 section of a slightly longer presentation which we developed for a workshop with Storlan Nash and Gaelic, which also involved higher, and at some point in the future I may put up the higher notes. But moving forward, looking at writing at National 5 and Gaelic Learners, National 5 has two elements, which make up together 25% of the exam, 40 marks overall. The exam is out of 120, but it's all scaled, it's all down to averages. And there are two aspects. There's the exam writing, which you do in May, which is worth 20 marks and is scaled to 12.5% of your overall mark. And then there is the National 5, it always is going to be in the context of employability, and we'll look at that shortly. And then there is the assignment, which is a response to a stimulus. It is also out of 20 marks. It is done in class time, but is assessed externally and is also scaled to 12.5%. The assignment was introduced due to the removal of the unit assessments from the course. And we'll look at what that involves shortly. So N5 exam writing, it's 20 marks. Again, as we said, PEG 12.5. There are first 4 bullet points are predictable in that they are always going to be looking for the same sort of information. And the first 2 predictable are very standard. They are personal details, your name, your age, where you live, and your school, college, education experience up until now. And they will always, if you've got those 2 paragraphs sorted in your head, then you should be grand. The next 2, skills, interests, which make you right for the job, and related work experience, the responses to them, the best responses to them are those which respond directly to the advert, but you at least know that's the type of thing that they're going to be looking for. And 5 and 6 bullet points are unpredictable. They will depend on the type of job. They will always be, and we'll look at unpredictable, but there are some things that you can look at in order to make them good. For example, as we say, it's very often based upon skills, knowledge, and experience. So if you're able to talk about your skills, your knowledge, and experience in general, you should be able to adapt that for the exam paper. Now, the important thing is there are 6 bullet points. You need to address all 6 of them if you're going to have any chance of getting 20. It doesn't matter how good you are. If you miss out 1 bullet point, you can only get a maximum of 60 marks. If you miss out 2, you can only get 12 marks maximum. And if you miss out 3, well, it probably shows that you don't have the language to be at this level, but that would mean you would get 0 marks. So anyway, use the stimulus to guide the response. Make sure you've mastered the National 4 language below. Ha mi feeling down in Gaelic. Always make sure you know about your Gaelic skills. Ha mi ma et obele. I'm good at working with. Ha mi uavastal iaski. Try and use some adjective modifiers. Is tullum oigri. Make sure you like the thing that they tell you that you're doing. It doesn't matter that you've not done this job before. Always say you like the job. And Rhain mi ialas obrach alnan. I did work experience in. Make sure you have that one in your back pocket as well. So for example, here are 2 examples taken from SQA papers in the last few years. The first one is Common Gaelic Officer Oigri, and you'll see there Vilu Iaski and Talat Oigri. So are you keen? Do you like kids? So yeah, that's it. That's skills and interests which you make right for the job, and your later work experience that you'd work in an office, as it says there. And fame to be feeling tongue in Gaelic, you've got to be fluent in Gaelic, so that would be your experience in Gaelic. And fame to be ma it obercori dunya olga, so you could say that you did Ryan mi yols obrach alnan club oigri. That's it. The other one is all high in the Gael talk. It's university, so you could just say your later work experience. For 4 would be that Ryan mi yols obrach alnan all high in the Gael talk. And look, if you look at the bullet points there, it says Femi Yols Viagadr Canela. You have to have experience of another language, so it's good to see what language that is. Frangashakam, whatever. Your knowledge of other languages and your experience of working in a team. Vami go and skip it egg. So that's examples of the how to do it. And if you want to, you could pause this, respond to these, and get a teacher to look at them. Now, the assignment writing would be slightly different. You'll be given a stimulus. There will be bullet points, but they won't be mandatory, so you don't need to do them. But what you do is you get the chance to work on this in your class time. Once you've got your class time, your teacher will take it in. They will use what they call a correction code, and that's not them correcting your mistakes, but what we'll do is we'll guide you towards the mistakes you've made, and give you tips. Maybe it's about tense or about grammar, about spelling. They won't tell you what you need to exactly what you need to change, but they will guide you, and you'll get that returned to you. You can use a dictionary and other reference material when you're preparing this draft. That's okay, but you will get it back. You'll get your corrected draft and the correction code, and you can use that to help you make yourself a second and final and hopefully improved copy. National 5, you can do 120 to 200 words. It will always, you need to do it in culture, society, learning, not employability. So you can't write about a job you have just because you cover that in the exam. In 2018, they saw holidays, personal profile, school, life, hobbies, language learning, and favourite music. So lots of people took the opportunity to do it, and the SQA likes statements, and that's it. So moving on. So if we look at the examples of N5 stimuli here, here's two. One was a local tourism website is looking for young people to share their opinions about their local area. You're going to write about your hometown or area, and so where your town region is situated, what it's like, where you like it, good points, bad points, the weather, areas of sites of interest for visitor tourists, and any useful information or advice for travelling to the area. And learning, if you want to just talk about your school, recently your school's been twinned with a school that teaches Gaelic in Canada. You've been asked to describe your own school for a school newsletter. Write 120 to 200 words in Gaelic. You can include details about your school, buildings, students, etc., why you like it, dislike it. Again, reasons, good points, reasons why, what you'd like to change in your school, and how you travel to school. So you don't have to deal with any of those bullet points, but they're all a good idea to cover. Now, when we talk about correction codes, SQA code is not mandatory or exhaustive. Your teacher might have created your own one. You might have one you use in school already, or but you can use this one if you want, and then they'll tell you exactly what the correction is, but they will be able to see you with the correction code. So here's an example of the SQA one, and there you have it, the classic omission, something's missing here, adjective agreement, and all these various ones here would be things like gender, grammar problem, maybe a new paragraph, not making sense, such like, all that kind of stuff there to help you. So your teacher may go through that. No. Now, when we're talking about this National 5, what's expected of you? And there is a grammar grid, which the SQA have. It's available as a generic one for modern languages, but there is a Gaelic version of it out there somewhere. But that's all within this video. So if you look at the column for National 5, there it is. Maybe not so easy to see, so we'll move on to the next one. These are the structures that we'd recommend that you're able to deal with. Hami Ismunyahukavale, if you can deal with that. She or Hanye, also very important to be able to use. Make sure that Suringo and Sharlam you have sorted, because that's actually National 4 language. If you're able to use the horde something room structure very easily as well, that's good National 5 level language. And rhyme, you make sure you know how to use your past tense verbs, in particular the irregulars. If you're looking at higher in the future, there's some conditionals, butalam, vian, volin, nambian, and also the relative future, nurivius tu or nurivius mi, when you will be. Heading on, looking at nouns, just want to make sure that we're using our nouns correctly, that we're using plurals, that we know how to use genitives, and we've got those type of things here. Have we got our prepositional pronouns sorted as well? So just build a good natural vocabulary. The more nouns you know off the top of your head that you don't need to go to the dictionary for, really helps. Good use of the article, things like that. You've got the apostrophes in the right place and such like, and a good use of the plural from reading. That's important. So the better you are at using your plural is good. A little bit higher language is what we call common genitive forms, the possessive case. And these are maybe things that you can use yourself as well. Line student nas well, phrases where the genitive is part of it and you don't have to actually work it out. You just learn how it works, and that means that you go forward through it. Line student scola, fat and howdy, all summer long. la at the end of the day. Genitive plurals are a tricky one because the plural in the genitive is often the singular nominative form, which means that you get things like Corlin and Yelan, the famous Western Isles councils, Corlin and Yelan. But if you said that Rein mi Jals Oberach in Corlin and Yelan, you would be using a genitive plural. So it's worth learning just a few little phrases and ask your teachers for some phrases that use the genitive tense that you don't have to worry, in the genitive case that you don't have to worry too much about. Moving forward, adjectives and adverbs, just make sure that they unite in the right places. Make sure that you can also use mo, do, all that stuff. And here we have it there, adjective agreement in the dative case, va me furos and taivor, there's an example. Plural agreement as well, for example, skill and mora, big skills. And make sure you got your comparatives there as well. The comparatives are national 4. That's things like this blaya, but then again, irregular comparatives like nishar, nasasa, nastura. Those things are actually higher language, but if you bring comparatives in at national 5 level, and there will be comparatives in, make sure that you've got it there as well. And higher, we looked, if you look at lesson 19, in the eSchool course, you'll see sar, geo, and drach being used. They're some of the most common preceding adjectives. We look again, prepositions, aspiration, infinitive, and the verbal noun. What does that mean in terms of national 5? It means just use your plurals well, use prepositions correctly, so which ones will unite, which ones don't. The infinitive, hamidal yanav, lenition and aspiration important. If you get it in the right place, it looks good. If you don't, it's a little bit sloppy. You've got things like irhiug, retuv, and fashgeir. That's important. Then we move on to numerals, national 5. Numbers, there's always about 3 or 4 things, 3 or 4 marks in a exam paper that apply to you. So the numbers, which is important, if you can get your numbers sorted out, when you're talking about age or the amount of people, just get them correct, just nail them, just get them put in there. Right, a few writing hacks just to finish off with. I know this is quite a short cursory video, but hopefully it's giving you a little bit of support in terms of how to do your National 5 writing. Just make tasks straightforward and grounded in previous learning to limit dictionary misuse. So you can't tell your teacher what you want, but you should be, making sure that what you're doing is based on things that you've learnt. Don't try and do things too flashy. Understand that usually you do have a lot of things to say about a wide range of activities, but base it on what you can say, and you're not going to be pushing yourself in realms where you're actually not comfortable talking about it in another language. You might be very comfortable talking about it in your own language, but I would recommend you deal with things that you can talk about. Use the grammar in the dictionary to help structure sentences stuck. There's always, at the back of some dictionaries, there's always a little grammar, a little verb. Remember, verb, subject, object. Know your dictionary, and also reflect on the vocabulary you might need to talk about a subject. So think about the type of things you would say before you. A good way to just make sure you tick off every bullet point is have a paragraph per bullet point. Take a line, leave a gap, even if you're doing a sentence for each bullet point to start off with, just to make sure you fill in the gaps and you've got them done. That will really help. A thing I very much believe in is good writing comes from a good talk. So in particular with your employment, you should be having lots of questions like Jane Tenema horse, Catchivilu Furoch, Catchivilu Cooper, Jane is skill in a hacket, what's your skills, Jeha Umati, what are you good at, all that type of thing, and you should be ready to have lots of ways in which that make you more flexible. Everything comes from good talk, in my opinion. National 5 as well, the affirmative and negative form. So if you can say things that you are good at, say things that you're not good at. If you want to say a thing that you have done, say things that you haven't done. If you can say positive statements, you should be able to say the negative version of it as well. And if you're talking about opinions, always don't just say hi ma. Say hami smunyhuk gvile ma or whatever. Just make sure that when you're expressing opinions, you're using structures like that, which are going to show off your Gaelic skills a bit more. So anyway, that was quite a short video, but hopefully it's given you a little bit of some tips in terms of how to do this section of the National 5 course, and best of luck with your writing. Cheery.